Hello, everybody. Welcome to the currency podcast, your standard for currency. Money is involved in some way, shape, or form. We increase the sensitivity on this microphone because shit changes. Shit gets it varies, and then I have to switch it back up because I have to adjust it for some reason, even though you think I could just leave it at the same sensitivity. But I mean, if you adjust the sensitivity, then it becomes more sensitive. There's sensitivity, like microphones are so sensitive, they really can't take a joke. And that's a joke from my mind. Credit to my mind, copyright. I'm gonna send in the patent. I'm going to try to get that copyrighted. I'll let you know how that process is going. I'll keep you updated. It's important to document even the copywriting process. I'm going to copyright the documentation process too that I went through to copyright, because that's a creation all its own. The process of copywriting the joke that microphones are so sensitive they can't even take a joke. You're welcome. I'm such a winner. I'm such a winner today for making this podcast. I'm a winner, I guess. I win. As long as I keep making it, then I guess I'm a winner. Guess what makes you a winner? It makes you a loser. But people are like, if you invest in Dogecoin, I mean, it just has a negative stigma. There's anti-Elon Musk sentiment. I don't know how much of it there is. Elon Musk he calls himself the Doge father, and with something like a cryptocurrency, you get away with, you could tweet. If you're a prominent enough figure like Musk, you could just tweet your way into being the leader of a cryptocurrency, because there's not supposed to be any leader in any one of them. It's totally hypothetical that anybody would be. And it's hypothetical that Elon Musk is, but he tweets himself he's like, I'm the Doge father, like he's the king of this crypto, but he does champion it, and I think, and takes Dogecoin as payment for Teslas. And that's an act of initiative that not everybody's willing to take. Like Dogecoin, the thing about Dogecoin is that it's a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and like Litecoin, but and then beyond that, people don't even mention what other kinds are in the same what other ones are in the same category as that. Dogecoin is a transactional cryptocurrency, which means that it's not like Ethereum, where other cryptocurrencies can write their code onto it. Other companies, other tokens can't write themselves onto Dogecoin. Dogecoin doesn't have that capability based on the programming code that was written for Dogecoin. The code written for it made it only transactional, the same way that Bitcoin is. But apparently when they made the Dogecoin code, they just they essentially copied and pasted Bitcoin code and Litecoin code. Litecoin is another transactional cryptocurrency that you can't write you can't write other cryptocurrencies or other tokens onto it. Bitcoin is the same way. They're just transactional. They're just residential, or in other words, the network that they generate is all of the nodes in the network are like residential nodes, or they're just addresses for regular people. They're just bank accounts, and it's just a bank. Dogecoin is just a bank, basically. Bitcoin is just a bank. Litecoin is just a bank. This is partially what I'm referring to by calling them transactional. It's just that transactional is, as best I can see, the term that people are using to distinguish this category. They're just transactional rather than they're like a platform, or they're their own internet. They're like, but the network, they have a network of tons of nodes. Does Bitcoin or Dogecoin, like in a similar way to that Ethereum does, even though Ethereum, you can write tokens onto that one. It's just that the network that Bitcoin or Dogecoin generates is, it's all of the nodes are just people's wallets. They're just bank accounts. They're not anybody creating a new program. But like Ethereum is a program that's written to generate more programs. It's like wishing for more wishes, but like it kind of has more infinite capability. Does something like Ethereum or Solana or Cardano, all of those are in the same category as platforms, or like they're their own internet that they generate. But all six of those, Solana, Cardano, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, and Litecoin, all six of those are blockchains. But there are also cryptocurrencies that people can make that don't even make it to the level of blockchain. They're just a token. But every cryptocurrency tokenizes something like, even though Dogecoin is a transactional cryptocurrency, what it tokenizes is a bank, basically. It's a placeholder, it's a representation of a bank, but it's completely in digital form. Like when they wrote the code for it, they wrote the program, that program acts as a bank, but it tokenizes banks to just be a digital thing. Whereas currently in the world, with fiat money and the banking system, banks are less digitized, and they're more physical, rather than that you could say that they were tokenized. But like a tokenization is a lofty concept when you think about it, because tokenization is just like representation that happens over and over again. But like as we make new inventions, they are in some way tokenizations of past inventions, because like when they make the airplane, or because like when they make a car, it's like you're incorporating technologies that previously existed. Like when they make a cell phone, and then a cell phone can make calls, like a smartphone can make calls and have the internet, then this is combining two previous technologies that used to be separated, or like were more separated. Like internet was over here, and then calling people was over here, and then they make a smartphone that combines both of them. That smartphone is a tokenized version of what previously made phone calls, because it's a new representative of that same function. It's just in a new form, in a more advanced form. But it's like these tokenizations happen the more that there's inventions at all. And as maybe you understand, but like Dogecoin, I'm going to try to say informational things about Dogecoin that I would know. What's the thing about Dogecoin is that it gets a bad reputation, maybe because of a lot of anti-Elon Musk sentiment. I don't, personally, I don't really understand the hatred for him. I think if there is that much hatred, or I mean, I don't really have a gauge on how much people hate him. It's just kind of like, people don't like individuals who are trying to make a lot of progress, when all of that progress can be tied to their name, because people don't like the example of somebody doing a lot, because it makes them feel bad and makes them feel shitty about not having accomplished anything. Like if you're just somebody who works a 9-to-5 job and you're sitting around hating Elon Musk because he's trying to do something in the world, like I don't see any value in that. You're just tearing people down and being discouraging. There's individualism sentiment, and Elon Musk is very individualistic when he says, I have this vision to go to Mars or whatever. And basically if you're somebody who wants to be remembered, or you're in the pursuit of accomplishing something in your short time on Earth, this is a terrific opportunity for anybody right now in this moment. It's like basically you could live a lot of different lifetimes in different eras on Earth and not have the opportunity that we do now, like anybody could be the first person on Mars, and that's a really lucrative title, because if we actually do colonize Mars and there's lots of people on it, like in 1,000 years, like in 1,000 years we colonize Mars, it's this new Earth that we're using. Elon Musk will always be remembered as the first person to get there, if he was the first person, if his company made it over there. And so you get to be remembered for, this is a great opportunity for anybody to be remembered like forever, for thousands of years. You're the first person to colonize another planet, you'll be remembered forever. Like Hernando Cortez, when he when he arrived in Mexico, he's even like 500 years later, he's still credited as the guy who found the New World. We still remember his name, but at the time that was just an opportunity that he was seizing on. And it's just like initiative that you would take, but you like to be remembered, or it's not necessarily he's trying to do it to be remembered, but naturally, instinctually, people try to leave their mark on the world, or try to be remembered. And so obviously this opportunity is out there. You can't ignore that it's possible to go to Mars. So I just because basically everybody else on the Earth doesn't have the means or the intelligence to come anywhere close, doesn't mean that they get to say that somebody is shitty for trying. Obviously, somebody who does have the means is trying to do that. People are afraid that's too foreign to them, like, oh, we can't do anything too crazy. But it's like someone like Elon Musk and Grimes, his partner, are they still together? I don't know. That, like, the two of them, they probably are so artistically minded that they're just trying to do whatever. It doesn't sound normal, because the more artistic that you get is the more that you're just completely ignoring conventions that we carry out today. And like, to the extent of just naming your kid a series of symbols, because like, who the fuck cares about the traditionalism of naming people? Or like, because if you think about it, there's a lot of conventions, like titles that you have for jobs that you do, that are stupid. Like Elon Musk goes in the artistic direction of trying to point out the stupidity in a lot of these things, and then people think that he's not taking anything seriously, but it's more that he isn't. He's just kind of clowning on everything and everyone because it is worthy of being clowned, because there's a lot of shit we do traditionally and repeatedly that's actually very stupid, that in like, from the perspective of 200 years from now, conventions don't really last all that long. But I mean, like, they just get replaced by other conventions. But if you're just like if you're really going for it, you're going to be as artistic as possible, then you're just in lunacy land. And so Elon Musk gets closer to that, and obviously that scares people. The like, going in a direction that isn't familiar, or like that he embodies those kinds of things, like standing out. People are afraid of standing out, for one. Like, I'm not gonna kiss Elon Musk's ass for the entire hour, probably just his first beginning, but it's just, he labels himself the Doge father. And like, Dogecoin is it gets a bad rap for being a meme coin. So people are like, oh, that coin is just a joke. But it's really like, it's not that difficult to figure out what Dogecoin is. People just like to make this big hysteria over that it's stupid or that it doesn't work. Like as if we're all supposed to assume that you're stupid for thinking that that's a thing. But it's a currency. It's not really that hard to think about. It's just people like to be naive. It's not that difficult to realize Dogecoin is a currency. It's competitive with other currencies. It's like ranked number 11 in the world in cryptocurrency in terms of market cap. Really, the most of the question that you are trying to answer if you're investing in cryptocurrency at all is it better than fiat currencies, national currencies, as national currencies stand now? And so by advocating for cryptocurrency here, my podcast, I mean, I'm advocating for currency, but then that makes it so that I am comparing different currencies, and which at that point, which one is relatively better, which kinds of currencies are better than each other. And I'm of the mindset that governmental currencies like the US, like governmental currencies, they'll deteriorate because the world doesn't really have time to recognize this very formatted, closed-minded, obvious formatting of currencies as they play out currently in the world, where the currency is dictated by the two-dimensional borders of a country, and like only within that country is that's what causes there to be this currency that people are trading in it. That's not like the internet will destroy borders like that pretty easily. I don't know how long it would take, but it's just that cryptocurrencies are relatively better because they're tradable, transferable by everybody. Like Dogecoin is a currency that is global already. It is already outside of the borders of any country. I would argue that this alone makes it better than other currencies. But if you're evaluating Dogecoin, if you're really going to look at it rather than just say, what is Dogecoin? That's I don't understand any of that. That's just stupid. Rather than be ignorant of it, all you have to do is like look up a couple pieces of information, and you make the connection that it's a currency, and then at that point then you'd be forced to evaluate it alongside other currencies, and then you might have to make a decision to invest in it. But people are like, well, I don't want to be prompted to change anything about my life, so when something new comes along they just live in fear of it. Not that you'd have to invest in Dogecoin, like obviously it gets a bad reputation because it's too much tied to one guy, and then no one person is ever gonna get ubiquitous credit besides Kanye West or something. Like if like Kanye West somehow remains unpolitical, so he doesn't but I'm sure there's still tons of people who hate him. Like you would have thought that Dave Chappelle received ubiquitous credit, but as it turns out, there's all these people that have been waiting in the wings to start hating on him for when he makes a mistake. So maybe there is more hatred for Kanye West than you think in the world. But it's like Dogecoin, let me tell you things about it. Dogecoin is like Bitcoin, and I forget what I've said about it already. Dogecoin is like Bitcoin and is like Litecoin. They're all transactional. They're transactional cryptocurrencies, and the thing about Dogecoin is that you would think that maybe, well, in 15 years, as we uncover more information, like people will understand more about it, and then we'll know about it, and then maybe we could more en masse invest in it or something. It's really like everything that you need to know about it is already there for you. It's just a currency, but instead of a national government saying, the reason this currency has value is because we have faith in it, and then you have faith in the government to have faith in the dollar or whatever gypsy shit is going on there. Instead of that, you have somebody wrote a computer program that tokenizes an entire nation. It's like a representative of an entire nation, and then that nation's currency is Dogecoin for that program. And it's just a computer program that's written. You don't have to figure out the computer program, because that program is actually not very much more complicated than Bitcoin. When they wrote Dogecoin, they just copied and pasted code from Bitcoin and from Litecoin, where both of those are transactional currencies. They're blockchains. Yeah, I can't remember what I've said already, but like the Solana, Cardano, and Ethereum are not transactional as you would want to refer to them. Like the category for Dogecoin and Bitcoin and Litecoin that's transactional, but that's just because you can't write any tokens onto them like you can with Ethereum, Solana, and Cardano. But all six of those that I mentioned are all blockchains. It's just that there's ways of categorizing these, and I would say they're a little bit ill-defined Like, people don't know the terms to distinguish these different kinds of cryptocurrencies, but that is the key to understanding what you should invest in, is uh, understanding the categories and the levels of competition so you can see who Bitcoin's competitors are. Bitcoin's competitors are Dogecoin and Litecoin. Those are their two biggest competitors because they're all in the same category. They're all the network that they generate based on the code. The network that the currencies generate for Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Litecoin are all they're all just residences. They're all just people's wallets. They're all just bank accounts. But they're a bank. They tokenize a bank. And can't remember what I've already said, but I guess I don't have to be that critical of if I said the same thing twice. So, like, the thing about Dogecoin is that it's just a currency and you can invest in it. It's not a bad investment. It's actually like the third biggest name behind Bitcoin. It's in the top three biggest names of cryptocurrencies, and that's really the most important thing about it for like whether or not you'd invest in it. It's actually kind of underrated as it stands now because it's comparable to Bitcoin. It's not worse than Bitcoin. It's arguably better or worse, but basically Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin are all the exact same in terms of quality because they all have basically the same code. What is different about their code, you can explain it. It isn't that indecipherable. The code written for Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Litecoin isn't indecipherable. What's more important is that you see that those three codes are basically the same. And so whichever one becomes the biggest is just determined based on what one is most popular. And you see that Dogecoin and Bitcoin are already more popular than Litecoin. And so it's just based on, because this isn't a matter of like we uncovered more, figure out more about the technology of Dogecoin. All of that is already there for you to see. It's there for anybody to see. It's like Ethereum, because it's this massive. The code written for Ethereum is program that's written to generate more programs. It's like wishing for more wishes or something. It's like a never-ending, infinite fractaling of programs because Ethereum can never end because when people create tokens onto it, that's a whole new program. Like because people can create tokens on it. What they couldn't write onto Ethereum is a whole blockchain, actually. So it has that limitation. So you'd have to go to the level. There's a higher level of cryptocurrencies that I explained in the Cosmos episode. Cosmos is a cryptocurrency that is a mega Ethereum where what you write onto it are whole blockchains, the same way that for Ethereum, what you write onto it are whole tokens, like a whole different program. Cosmos, what you write onto it is a whole blockchain that in turn can have a whole network of tokens. So but like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Litecoin, you can't write anything. You can't write blockchains or tokens onto them, because they are written just to be transactional. That's how one-dimensional they are. It's really that simple. The only thing that determines Dogecoin's value is if people vote for it or if they put money into it. And it's like cryptocurrency is this new technology because it introduces this new form of company, that new form of bank that the people who invest their money in the bank that have a bank account in it share in the wealth of the bank, where it's like if you put money into TCF Bank, you have a bank account in there, and then TCF Bank goes under, what happens to them is basically another bank buys them out, and then the same place, physical location where you have a bank account, you can still go there and you still have the same money, even though the TCF Bank went under and now is under a different name. That doesn't matter for your bank account because the wealth of the bank is separate from your money, and it's just like they get bought out by somebody else if they go under. And what's different about cryptocurrencies is that you share in the wealth of the bank because your money you and the bank are one and the same. The entire bank and the entire company is transferable by everybody who owns it. It's a stakeholdership that offers itself, that makes its way to every single person who invests in the company. Or it's like, I mean, it's like a stock, but cryptocurrencies in some senses destroy elitism in terms of stakeholdership because it makes it ubiquitous where everybody's a stakeholder. But so you there would be arguments over whether or not that's better, but it's a new technology that does that, where combines combines two different wealths into one. And so you could argue whether or not that part of it is better. But like a Dogecoin, people write it off because it's a meme coin, and that is a generational that's a generational designation, where it's like people who are too old, like they would automatically hear meme and then say that that's a negative. So it's interesting that Dogecoin has this moniker of meme coin, and people are like, oh, it's just a joke, it's not a real currency. But what you'd have to consider with that, because it's kind of like a permanent title that's attached to Dogecoin, is that it's a meme coin. This is maybe its greatest asset, actually, because like, you consider memes, what do you think is, you'd have to consider then, because this is how this coin is defined and different from every other cryptocurrency. This is a distinguishing feature about Dogecoin, makes it different from, like, Bitcoin and Litecoin are its greatest competitors, and all that they tokenize is a bank. That's the only thing that they function as, rather than Ethereum functions as a bank and an entire internet, like an entire programming language that you can write other programs onto. Ethereum has more utility and capability, is more never-ending than Dogecoin, Bitcoin, or Litecoin. And so these categories are completely different. And ultimately, probably one of the best questions about cryptocurrency is, how different are these categories between the Ethereum, that you can write an entire internet onto it, and Bitcoin, where it's just a bank. Ethereum has obviously a lot more capability. I would say that what that means is Ethereum has a lot more long-term value than Bitcoin or Dogecoin, but Bitcoin or Dogecoin in the short term will be fantastic, and maybe in the short term they make more money than Ethereum, but like in the long term, Ethereum will be better in the long term. Like Ethereum could be around 100 years from now, but I'd say that Bitcoin and Dogecoin have less ability to be around 100 years from now, because they have a lot less utility and a lot less encryption, power of encryption than Ethereum does. Ethereum has the ability so much more ability to be encrypted, because how complicated, how complex Ethereum can become with all the different kinds of programs that can be written onto it. Any different kind of program can be written as a token that do lots of different functions in the world, can be written onto Ethereum. And so this just compounds Ethereum's encryption, and it's your encryption and your undefinability that's ultimately going to cause you to last a really long time. It's just that encryption doesn't always paint a clear picture of, in the short term, like that Ethereum would necessarily be better. But Ethereum is your best investment, because not only can you write programs onto it, it's the leader in holding NFTs. You mint NFTs on Ethereum, and you can mint them on Solana, and I would imagine also on Cardano. But Ethereum by far already is the leader in NFTs that are minted onto it. It's basically an unstoppable juggernaut, because like NFTs is almost half the story with this emerging technology, and Ethereum is also the leader in that. Like the most of those into the future will be written onto it. It's basically it'll become more and more indecipherable as time goes on, and is probably a better long-term investment than both Bitcoin or Dogecoin. But in the short term, what you want to compare is between Bitcoin and Dogecoin. Maybe the greatest, one of the best things that Dogecoin has going for it, like is that it's Bitcoin's greatest competitor, and at this time is billions and billions of dollars less in market value, but yet is often mentioned in the same breath as Bitcoin. This is something that you want to consider because how much lower Dogecoin is than Bitcoin by relative comparison, and then therefore how much more ground it has yet to make up for people not realizing that it's underrated, because it's the same thing as Bitcoin. It's the same code. The quality of it is the same. And so at that point, all that matters is the competing communities of people that invest in it, and recognize that Tesla is that's kind of an emerging government all its own. Tesla and the shit that Elon Musk is making is all like he's creating so many different enterprises under that name, and Tesla is responsible for all these kinds of things, like giant batteries that generate buildings better or whatever. I don't know all the things that are under Tesla's name, but Tesla does more than just cars. But all that shit that Elon Musk is relating himself to, he's calling himself the Doge Father and accepts Dogecoin as payment where other people don't. And what I'm saying is that Tesla and the things Elon Musk creates, it's like you would go wrong to underestimate them and just call them that's a private sector company. Like that's an entire emerging economy all its own, and probably one of the best ones that it would be accepting Dogecoin as payment. But I'm just pointing to the fact that in the world that we live in, there are competing governments that are rising up. Like Tesla would be one of them, definitely, but like Google or Facebook, these are all governments that are competitive with the national government. Besides that, cryptocurrencies are competitive with the national government. They're not at least the national government's currency, but new governmental structures rise up as we see that they're doing, and pretty much if they are better and they offer more freedom, I mean, if they're like relatively better technologies, they'll replace this era of governmental structures, just like any technology replaces the old era of technologies that everybody was competing in. But like government isn't immune to that. And so it would be incorrect to think that government is the answer. National governments will reign forever. Like they've been in the process of deteriorating for however many couple hundred years, but like different stages have taken place, like how 100 years ago everybody in Europe had monarchies, but the deterioration of monarchies, like top-down structures where we recognize just the importance of the figure of a leader, and then we kind of see through that, like with the presidency in America and whatever, like as political structures deteriorate, but it's just the political structures of today, like the presidency and the election that we have, the House of Representatives, the Congress, and all that shit is all a bunch of theater that we don't recognize yet to be a theater. But like it's a lot of showiness, it's a lot of appearanceism that it's just characteristic of this era of government. It's like similar to kings and queens, but recognizing the crown and the importance of the aristocracy or whatever. This is characteristic of the era. That's just a certain kind of government, but it's like Tesla. In this new age, in this new era of governments, the governments will be not what we consider to be national governments as we understand them today. Like Tesla is its own emerging giant economy and government that is accepting Dogecoin for the most part as it's already stands. But I say all that to say that, so Dogecoin is a meme coin, and people are like, well, it's just a joke, so it's not a real currency. But anybody, if they just take 2 seconds to look at it, can be like, yes, this is a currency the same as any other currency, and it's, but people are like, because it's a meme coin, that is bad. But actually, look at how popular memes are, is what you would need to consider with that, rather than say, that's just a joke. consider what's happening in the world. Like, if that's really the permanent title for it, and that's unique to Dogecoin, no other coin is the most associated with memes. There are other meme coins, but Dogecoin is the standard of that. It's the best meme coin. And what you really want to consider with Dogecoin, like its future, are things like because basically the only thing that distinguishes Dogecoin from Bitcoin and Litecoin are the community or just the titles and images. Like the name is a huge contributing factor to any cryptocurrency. What distinguishes it? The name, because the name and the vibe and the symbolism that goes along with it is what generates the community, because Bitcoin and Dogecoin are basically the same code, but yet like vastly different perceptions develop around both of them, and they result in different sums of wealth also. And so Dogecoin is quite a bit lower in terms of market cap than Bitcoin as it stands now, but it is Bitcoin's biggest competitor because they're in the same category. And because of that, I would say it's like Dogecoin is maybe underrated or a worthy investment. It might actually have a lot of ways to go, especially if it starts to get real life use, which is what people are most wary about, is that they don't see where you can use Dogecoin. I mean, if it becomes ubiquitous and it's just as good as Bitcoin, it might be like, it might have the opportunity to pass Bitcoin possibly. But if that is the case, if it has anywhere near the ability to pass Bitcoin, then you definitely want to invest in it because it's a lot lower than it is right now. But like, what you really want to consider with Dogecoin is the kinds of things that are attributed to it, like dogs, the symbolism of it. What is the future of dogs? How long will dogs last? What is the future of memes? How long will those last? Do you think memes have a good future? They're very popular right now. It would be difficult. Maybe you're like, oh, memes will go away. I would say that they wouldn't, because a lot of what's being processed with memes is the idea of memory. And memery is essentially memory, because you are describing the same thing enough with memery as memory that you would be able to be like, yeah, that's the same. Memery is memorable memes, like a collection of memes. If you're talking about memery, all the memery that's going on, all the meming and the memes that are made, that's a lot of memery, but you're memeing things that are remembered. But that's what the world is processing, is kind of a relationship to memory. And so with memes, and so think about how long lasting memory would be. Like Norm Macdonald has a ton of clips on YouTube. Like a lot of what you can attribute Norm Macdonald's fame to is actually that he's memorable in all of his interviews. You could use the term memorable to describe that, and it actually accounts for a lot of the reason why he makes it big, is because of and like gets remembered after he's dead. He's kind of somebody that, like, he has all these clips on YouTube, but you would keep going back to them because he's memorable. I feel like a lot of that has to do with his memorability, his memory. And that's when you consider how much memory can account for in terms of fame, and how much we value fame, or like how much money and visibility that the famous people get. And like a lot of it has to do with that they're the most memorable, or the people that make it the highest, or like the things that get memed the most is all that I'm saying, though. The things that get circulated to the most people, that the most people see it, or that it is memeable, that it is memorable. But with Dogecoin, it's a cryptocurrency that has meme like permanently attached to its name. This is part of its identity. And what people say when they hear that, for some reason, is that's just a joke and should be written off. But in reality, that might actually be its greatest asset, or a reason why you'd want to invest in it, or like something that points to that it might have a good future. Is if it's the most meme coin, then it's the most memorable, and most memorable is basically what you're going for in competition, in cryptocurrency competition. Most memorable, because most meme-ish means that the most people have it, but it's like it variates itself to different addresses, like different people own different amounts of Dogecoin all across the world, the more people that are part of the community and get on board with investing in it, contribute to its market value, is the more that it goes up. And the more it goes up is kind of the more other people jump on the bandwagon, because it's like a bandwagon kind of thing, or cryptocurrencies, because if you see that it's becoming more popular, then it has more chance to continue to be more popular in the future, whatever. It's like a lot of popularity. But like if it's a meme coin, that can only be an asset, I think. It's just that gets a derogatory, people read bad things into it, because I feel like it's a lot of older people maybe that already don't like a new emerging whole market of currencies or whatever. I mean, it's not just old people. It's just like people that aren't, like, look at memes and see all of the fun that people have with them and like positivity that they generate. Basically, people that have a negative view of memes are like, oh, that's just a joke. It's kind of more than a joke, because look at how time consuming it is for people. Like, people make memes, people look at them, they take up a lot of time. But anything that has a lot of memory takes up a lot of time. And I'm just talking about that. I'm talking about the idea of memory itself, like that it's storage on your computer or video game system. Your video game system, how many games it's able to store dictates what its memory is, like how much memory you have and is how much storage you have. I'm just saying memory, consider that it's storage. For computers and video games, basically, the more storage that they have, the higher priced the video game system. If an Xbox holds a terabyte, it's going to be more expensive than one that holds 500 megabytes. Like, price increases with more memory and more storage. Memory is a very good thing to be defined by when you're a company that exists just to collect money, because then if you're the most meme, potentially that means you're the most memory. And like, I understand that maybe you look at this diagnosis I'm making and say like, well, just the word meme attached to it doesn't dictate all of that it will be the most memorable. But like, it's already probably one of the top 3 names. It's already very memorable, even though it's not the top one. But if it is like, if you're defining it by its memorability, or it's like it's a meme coin, you're saying something about its ability to meme, which means that it has a better ability to make itself viral than other cryptocurrencies. And what you're going for with cryptocurrencies, or any currency, is virality. The most people knowing about it and investing in it, like the most exposure is going to generate, because it's all about visibility and popularity. The most people on board with it, the most money is what's going to cause the most money. And so if it's able to meme itself to the most people, like, it gets passed around is what it means. If it's a meme coin, that means it's very viral. Then that can only be good for it. It's a meme coin. It's just that maybe the world needs to stop living as if meme is a negative thing, or like that means that it's not real or you can write it off. Like, different things have different capacities for memeing, but like different entities have better memories, or have more storage, or have the ability to generate more memory, more storage. Like Norm Macdonald, as a person, for whatever reason, he's like an Xbox that has a terabyte of memory, because of his ability to be remembered. How many like the collection of all instances of him that exist on the internet, and then how many views they generate, like how many people see those. It's like the more spaces that you take up is the more that you are memed, or that like it's imitated. And like, a million people can see the same video of Norm Macdonald, but they're all going to have different interpretations of what they saw, different judgments, different perceptions of it. Like, partially what you generate is just a lot of people explaining you to themselves in their own words. And those are like, but it's like the more, and what people end up doing as a result of forming an interpretation of something they see, is making a memory out of it. And like somebody like Norm Macdonald, anybody that's viral like that, because they're memorable, the things that they say are memorable, they have a higher ability, like across the entire world, they have a higher storage capacity or something like that of their because their memory only increases. But like um, not everybody has that capability. My phone is maybe about to die. I think I have 10% left, so I'll probably have to make this under an hour. But like it's that your better ability to meme is the more storage that you have, is the more like spaces you take up. And with Dogecoin, if it really is meme coin, then if it memes itself, then the most people have different versions of it on their phone, or it's just ubiquitous, personable to every single person. More so, it has more utility. It's more accessible across the board. Essentially, if it continues to be meme always, like because I mean that could. So like if it's a meme, people think that that means it will be destroyed, I guess. Just like because people will write it off as a joke, like but it's different if it's already this immutable computer program that's like a technology that's better. It's the same thing as Bitcoin. You might as well write off all cryptocurrencies as meme then, because the quality of Dogecoin is it's the same as Bitcoin. That's the quality. You don't really have to figure out anything more about it. It's right there out in the open. It's just like it's not that difficult. You can put money into it or not. But if you're like, I don't understand that, or it's stupid that people or like I don't get that at all. And if you just keep asking what is Dogecoin in order to live in the dark as to what the thing means, it's not it's just like one or two steps to look up what it is, and then just like all that you need to know is basically already there. If you continue to say what is Dogecoin, you're just voting to be not in the community of people that invest in it, and you're just continuing to ignore the reality of these people that do put money into it. That's your vote, and that's fine. Whatever you do that, it's just that you're ignoring that there are people that do put money into it, or like that it has a potentially bright future. Like you just continue. It's like it's not a matter. I'm just saying that people who act like they don't know anything about it, it's very simple. It's just a currency. It's not this big thing, but it's just that you are saying that you don't like it. If you're saying that, you're just like, I don't like it. That's what you're saying. You don't mean that you don't know it, because it really isn't this big thing, especially with Dogecoin. Ethereum is very complex. It's like completely undefinable. And because of that, it's your best investment. But Dogecoin, probably in the short term, because we don't have any computer programs that tokenize an entire bank, like entire banking system, and does it better. In the short term, that's a terrific function, the one that there is unparalleled, I guess you could say. But like because all it does is a bank, it's not like gonna be probably has less chance to be forever. But like in the short term is probably great. And so you consider it's a meme coin, Dogecoin. Consider it's defined by dogs. And so like how long will people like dogs? It looks like for the foreseeable future people are going to like dogs for quite a while. People haven't really gotten over that. It looks like dogs will be around with us for a good while. And they're very very visible. Dogs are memorable just on their own, just as they are. They have memorable personalities, is probably part of the reason why people like them so much. Like you kind of remember people's dogs, and it's a little bit the same with cats, but maybe the memorability of these two animals is why we flock to them so much, because we have, just as a species, we have a high attraction to memory, or legendary status of making something of yourself and being remembered. Like we're very attracted to that idea. We're really in the midst of processing it and have barely overcome what, like it's kind of like a relationship to memory. And then you see the memory is this abstractish idea that relates things to dreams a little bit, or it makes everything a bit more foggy, because memory is something that happened in the past, or like but for whatever reason, we're attracted to this enough to like try to point out and lift up the most memorable people. But dogs are memorable in the same way. Like this already works. This the whole identity of Dogecoin really works because it's not just like dogs are visible and memorable, but dogs are memeish and viral and visible. You see those the most out of any other animal because of humans are attracted to them. There you see them a lot and people run stories of them, whatever. Like that's another viral quality that's attached to Dogecoin. Besides the Doge is a meme coin, it's like it would appear that it has high potential to be viral. But it goes along with like, so there are differences in the code between Bitcoin and Dogecoin. I'm just saying, like, in terms of that category, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin are essentially the same because they both have the same capacity for whatever. They all just are a bank, but there are differences within them. The differences to me are sort of negligible because nobody would be able to determine that these differences make one of the two better. So there's Bitcoin and there's Dogecoin. And the main difference I'd say is that Dogecoin is an unlimited supply, whereas Bitcoin has a set finite supply of 21 million. I think it is 20. Bitcoin has a set finite supply of 21 million coins, and that's written into their code that way. And they wrote it that way so that it would be they're eventually going to run out of Bitcoins that they can mine, and at that point there will just be a certain number of Bitcoins floating around, and that will increase the rarity. They want to increase scarcity of Bitcoin, so they wrote it to have a small number of coins, so that at some point the market value of Bitcoin as a company will keep going up, allegedly, is what they want. And then that'll increase the price. Like higher scarcity is what they're going for. But Dogecoin is an unlimited supply. And this is just more like they are moving. They're moving more, or they're more for anybody. Like anybody could. Like the price is always lower is essentially the thing with Dogecoin. That's why it's just it's like 15 cents, whereas Bitcoin is 45,000 is how this difference articulates itself. You already see just in the prices of the two of them. Bitcoin is really high, but like the price itself doesn't say anything about the market value of the currency, but it's basically like the dollar value that you see for any cryptocurrency. Like Dogecoin is currently at 14.7 cents or something. That price is just an indicator of it's an arbitrary indicator of the supply that was written into the code, and that price has to fall somewhere between 0 and the total market value of the cryptocurrency. So it's like Bitcoin is at like 750 billion or something like that right now in terms of total value of the company. That's the only thing that really matters in terms of cryptocurrency cryptocurrency values. Ziggy, leave. Ziggy, leave. I have a dog. His name is Ziggy. So, Dogecoin. He made an appearance, I guess, just because he knew dogs are smart, or everything circles back to everything else. But there is an unlimited supply there's an unlimited supply of Dogecoin, and this is like into the what they do with Dogecoin is I think that they burn some of them, but the supply is unlimited rather than that it's finite, so they keep generating more of them. It's not completely infinite because they can only mint so many Dogecoin a year, so it's limited by how much they actually mint. It isn't an infinite supply, but that is what it would be described as, just in comparison to Bitcoin. because they continue to make Dogecoin, and that's what was written into the code. They wrote it in the code that they keep making Dogecoin, and that always kind of decreases scarcity, and so it goes in a different direction than Bitcoin. And so people don't know which one is better, and that's why I say that the difference in is negligible. But I'm just making the point that Dogecoin, because it has a supply where they keep making it, this goes along with it being meme-ish and viral more so because like a Bitcoin that's characterized by that they're intending it to be scarce, that's more characterized by elitism, and then the fear is that people it'll be the same as other currencies where the elite collect the most of it, and then like they run out of them. Dogecoin is designed to be for everybody, quote unquote, because the code is written for it to continue to make more of them. And so it's not as scarce. Like, I don't really know that people don't know if that is a major difference, like that is a reason for anybody to invest in one of those over the other. But like Dogecoin, that just goes along with what they're already doing, their ability to be viral. Like that's more common, that's more for the masses. When what they're saying is that they're generating a lot of Dogecoin. It's the same thing, that as it being meme-ish and having being characterized by visibility, the most people seeing it, is that the supply continues on, like, or it's kind of more in motion rather than that it's stagnant. It's more my gut feeling that and a supply that keeps generating more of them is better, because rarity is maybe more a characteristic of currencies of the past. But that is a random statement or assessment that I'm making. I'm not really sure if that's true. But it's like the virality is all there. I'd say that identity and that brand is actually pretty good because it's consistent across all of the titles that already has for itself. And like, if you think cryptocurrency is the future, Dogecoin being one of the top 3 names already, like top most memorable, is probably a good investment. I'm not going to say it's better than like Ethereum is a better investment than Dogecoin, I would say. I don't I would want to say Dogecoin is a better investment than Bitcoin, just currently, just because of the major deficit between the two of them, that Dogecoin is so much less than Bitcoin, has more ground to make up. And as we talk about, Dogecoin now is a competitor to Bitcoin that could be mentioned in the same breath as it, because it's like in the same category. It's just that Bitcoin is already the standard. Like, it's more obvious that people will get on board with that. But like Dogecoin is maybe the second or third closest to seeing real life case uses, like more so than a Solana or a Cardano. Like, Dogecoin might be more trustworthy than maybe everything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I'm not your financial advisor. I don't know that that's true. A lot of it rests on people's perception of Elon Musk somehow. And so the thing is, if he ever gets to Mars, and because he is such an advocate of Dogecoin, like, if he is successful in his endeavors and people see that, continue to see that, and the more that like Tesla and structures that he's created rise up to be a rival, like a major player in the world in terms of whole governments, is like, I mean, I would say that a lot of Dogecoin actually rests on people's perception of Elon Musk and whether or not some of the things he's saying he can do, he's successful at, honestly, because the price spiked a ton last year when Elon Musk was hosting SNL. So like, for some reason, there's this major pop culture element to it, but it's like, you can't deny that that's part of it, or that's the reason why the price in Dogecoin spikes or doesn't. Like when Elon Musk went to host SNL, in leading up to that, Dogecoin, the price kept going up, and then it's spiked back down after he hosted it. And then in the aftermath of that, people, like, perception of Elon Musk went in a more negative direction, because they saw that in real life this guy doesn't really take things seriously or something like that. But that was already the case. It's just that hadn't yet been revealed to people. And so those kinds of things rebound, and they'll probably like Elon Musk again, especially if he goes to Mars. Like, the price would go crazy, probably because of its memishness and our relationship to the success of the one guy. If he actually ever goes to Mars, which is presumably like less than a decade away, I think is their timeline, then that price will go crazy. Besides that, it might go crazy before then anyway. And it is often going crazy, and Dogecoin is already up like 3 to 5,000% in the last year or 2 years already, which is a lot better than other stocks can say. I am obviously advocating for this probably more than I would want to, because it's not really, it's stigmatized, this coin, a little bit, but I'm just laying out some of the pros where often there are a lot of cons for it. But thank you for listening to that. I'll put out more shit later on, because this is the More Shit podcast for you and your no bullshit content watching relatives and friends. So believe in yourselves, and make sure to remember your smiles and shit like that. Talk to you all later.